passing in.
Okay, we're breaking into this report to bring you a story out of New Zealand. A man has been shot and killed by New Zealand police after he stabbed several people at a supermarket. The New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, is speaking from Auckland. Let's listen to what she's got to say.
This afternoon I want to share what we know about this event, but also what we know about the terrorist. But first I want to acknowledge these 6 innocent people who have been attacked. 3, I understand, are seriously injured. This was a violent attack. It was senseless, and I am so sorry it happened. The attack began at 2:40 p.m. and was undertaken by an individual who was a known threat to New Zealand. The individual was under constant monitoring, and it was the police surveillance team and special tactics group who were part of that monitoring and surveillance that shot and killed him within, I'm told, the space of roughly 60 seconds of the attack starting. For the detail of the events today, I will pass to Commissioner Andrew Costa to provide detail of the Special Tactics Group operation. I'll then say more of what we know about the terrorist and the government's efforts to protect New Zealanders from him.
Thank you, Prime Minister. As the Prime Minister has said, this individual was under heavy surveillance as a consequence of concerns about his ideology. Today, he travelled from where he lived in Gleneden to the Countdown in New Lynn, as he had done before. He was closely watched by surveillance teams and a tactical team.
To release what we can, but they will provide additional insight into this attack. Before I open up for questions, what happened today was despicable, it was hateful, it was wrong. It was carried out by an individual, not a faith, not a culture, not an ethnicity, but an individual person who was gripped by ideology that is not supported here by anyone or any community. He alone carries the responsibility for these acts. Let that be where the judgment falls. Jessica, then Toba.
The Police Commissioner mentioned that the officers prevented more happening. Maybe this is better for the Police Commissioner. What was planned? Can you give us a scale of what the person was planning to do?
We've had absolutely nothing that would tell us the extent of his intentions, or indeed that he had particular intentions today to go and do this act. Based on our surveillance, what we could tell is that he was undertaking what appeared to be a normal shopping expedition. However, clearly we have been concerned about his ideology, and that's why he was under surveillance and with accompanying tactical teams to be able to intervene.
Sitting at home, they'll look at this and say, if he was being surveyed and so closely watched, why were 6 people able to be injured before he was shot? Can you explain that?
This individual is very surveillance conscious, and surveillance teams working with an offender over an extended period of weeks need to maintain sufficient distance for that surveillance to be effective. So they were as close as they possibly could be without compromising the surveillance operation.
So this is someone that has been closely monitored, and so as the Commissioner has said, there was nothing that we're aware of at this point in time to indicate that what he was going to do today was going to happen today. But obviously, because he was being closely followed and watched, they were there at the vicinity in the supermarket at the time that this occurred.
Prime Minister, sources just told us that he was recently released from jail. Can you confirm that? And Commissioner, just following on from Jess's question, if this man was on a terror watch list, why was he allowed in the community?
I had prepared a timeline of everything that we know of this individual and his interaction with our agencies and the law. I've been advised that because of suppression orders, I can't share that with you today, but I do undertake to go away and find a way that I can share that with you. I think it's in everyone's best interest that I'm able to do so. I just can't do it right now.
Suppression orders applied to the deceased, though?
Unfortunately, when they're issued by the courts, it's the court's order.
Okay.
So as I've said, I prepared a timeline for you that I wanted to share and I intend to share with you. I just unfortunately need to go through a process before I can.
Commissioner, just following that question, why was someone who was on a terror watch list allowed in the community?
I'm confident that we have done absolutely everything we can within the bounds of the law and operationally to ensure that we could prevent what occurred with this individual, but there was nothing to prevent him being in the community, and we were doing absolutely everything possible to monitor him, and indeed the fact that we were able to intervene so quickly in roughly 60 seconds shows just how closely we were watching.
When we're in the position to do so, you'll see at every point, every attempt we've made to use the law to the greatest extent we could. The fact that he was in the community will be an illustration of the fact that we haven't succeeded in using the law to the extent we would have liked. That is why he was being closely monitored at all times. And so that is, given he was in the community but being closely monitored at all times, he had a surveillance team monitoring him and a special tactics group that you can see was at the supermarket at the time he was there. I'll let you finish that question.
Does that mean that mosque that's been cordoned off was also under police surveillance? And I think a lot of people will be concerned about a backlash against the Muslim community. Perhaps
that would be wrong. That would be absolutely wrong. The community here has been nothing but helpful and supportive. It would be wrong to direct any frustration at anyone beyond this individual. That is who is culpable, that is who is responsible, no one else.
Completely
Jane.
Accepting the suppression orders,
Yeah.
what can you tell us about the motivations or the ideology?
Violent ideology and ISIS inspired.
And you're confident he was a lone wolf actor?
Yes.
You're watching Al Jazeera. We've been bringing you a press conference being held by New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern from Wellington in New Zealand following an attack at a supermarket in Auckland where several people have been stabbed. A man had been shot and killed by New Zealand police. The Prime Minister there describing it as an individual known to be under constant monitoring. It was a hateful and wrong attack.